Hello, children. With the recap of five kingdom classification as we have studied until now, so we have observed that the five kingdom classification was studied with the first, with only observing the red blood cells and not being observed with the red blood cells, only with the physical characteristics, which was very confusing. Then later on, with Carlos Linnaeus, he discovered about the two kingdom classification which was observed with plant and animal. But again with plant and animal it was observed that the classification which was done with plant and animal, we observed that a few of the organisms were showing the characteristics of plants as well as animals. And then later on we observed that with the studies being studied by different scientists, and then Robert Whittaker came with the five kingdom classification, as you can see on the screen with the on the flowchart what it is given. So that is with prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So with prokaryotes we have observed that being with the not well defined nucleus and with well defined nucleus, and we observe that with well defined nucleus again it is divided into protista, animalia, and with the unicellular and multicellular. With unicellular we can find only protista, whereas in multicellular we observe that it gets divided into plantae, fungi and animalia. So far we have studied about the five kingdom classification. Now we will be concentrating on how this particular classification, in this classification how the particular organisms are named with, like how each and everyone has a particular name. So how this naming system is done in science, that we will be studying today. Here we are with the naming an organism. So we observe that there are millions of species of animals and plants in the world, right? So in everyday language we often use common names of them. For example, say it as cat, dog, rose, lotus, neem, and many other different names, right? But the common names may be misleading because they are based on a superficial resemblance between the living organism. For example, there is an animal living in a sea called as a sea mouse, but it is not a mouse, it belongs to the family of earthworms. It got its name simply because it is hairy and reminds one of a mouse. So we cannot keep on saying that with the common names what we use in a different language, that with a particular name we can call a particular animal when we are studying about the science. Also, the common names of an organism can be pronounced differently in different languages. For examples, mango is called as am in Hindi, amba in Odia or Marathi, and mangai in Tamil, and amadi in Telugu. It creates a great confusion and cannot be used for scientific studies all over the world. Right. So here also we see that human is known by a particular name as the plants and animals. Right. Like I'm having a particular name, you are having a particular name. Right. Now this animal, what is it called as? Yes, lion, isn't it? So what about this animal? Penguin. Very good. So here we observe that these are the particular names of a particular animal, and when we observe those animals, then we immediately the uh, we come to know that it is a particular animal with a particular name. But the common name with different languages will be different. For here in the screen it is given as animal such as lion, monkey, rabbit is given, right? Whereas with plant such as mango, apple tree, guava. So if I say that in English we are talking about these particular names, if I want to know about a Hindi or Marathi, so what we will be saying, because these are the common languages we are using this, right? So with lion in Hindi we call it as, what do we call? Yes, that is sher. For monkey, bandar. And for rabbit, khargosh, right? That only in Marathi. For lion, sinha. For monkey, yes, market. And for rabbit, what do we call it as rabbit? Yes, that is sasa, right? Now with the plant we will observe. Plant also keeps on having a particular name. So in that manner we can observe that different languages have different names. So that keeps on making a great confusion, and that made to have a proper naming system in science while studying about a plant and animal during this classification of kingdom, so that the scientists all over the world, it becomes easy for them to understand what the particular organism they are studying about. So the need of scientific name was because of the scientists, because they have all over the world, they are studying about the different languages. Now if I want to study about uh, particular animal, then I will be thinking about a particular name which is common with it. But while I'm studying, it should be familiar with each and every scientist all over the world when I'm conveying the message about a particular animal. With different languages, different name for a particular organism. And the last one, scientist confusion to understand the names of particular organisms. So to avoid this confusion, this scientific name system is needed for understanding better about a particular organism. And so we find that this binomial nomenclature system was done to name the organism. Binomial nomenclature, or also it is said to be as binary nomenclature. Bi means two and nomial means name. So that is the meaning of binomial nomenclature. That means two ways or two names are given for a particular organism. So it is a two-term naming system with genus and species. So we observe here that two names are given for a particular organism developed by Carolus Linnaeus in 1735. So in the year, in some books it is given different years. So it may be differing with plus or minus 5 years differences. So here I have mentioned with 1735 because most of the books I referred and I came to know about 1735. So what are these common names which we study about? Now here we observe with the scientific names of common organisms. Now with man, we as Homo sapiens, whereas with cat, Felis domesticus, with dog, Canis familiaris, honeybee, Apis indica, housefly, Musca domestica, peacock, Pavo cristatus, cobra, Naja naja, Hoopie, Hupapa, Epops. So these are the common names for animals. So now first name is all of genus and the second name is all of species. Same way with the plant, we will find people, Ficus religiosa. With mango, Mangifera indica. With potato, Solanum tuberosum. With China rose, Hibiscus rose sinensis. With okra or bhindi, or common name as lady's finger, we can say Hibiscus esculentus. With pineapple, Ananas commosus. With pigeon, pea or arhar, Kajanus kajan. And lentils, that is masoor, is Lens esculenta. So these are the common names for plants and animals we observe, that keeps on making us to understand that if any of the scientists is studying about any of a particular organism from this, they will be not using the common names, but they will be using that if they are studying about the honeybee, they will keep on studying that the Apis indica. They will keep on mentioning the name as Apis indica. And with all these things, we will understand that the easiest way to know about all the scientific names of these plants and animals. This in animals, cobra is very easy to remember, right? That is cobra, that is Naja naja. And for pineapple, in Marathi we call it as ananas only. So it is Ananas commosus. Or for pigeon pea, Kajanus kajan, right? So here These are the things which are considered with the binomial nomenclature. Now we have seen about the scientific names. Now let us see what are the rules for writing the scientific name. Scientific names are always written in common Roman script. So as with the Roman script, as it, you can see how it is written on the screen. So in the same print or in the same script, it is written with Roman script. If written in print, they are always italics. Okay. Now when we study about the particular organism while writing the names, so it can be written when it is written in print. You can observe here in this, you can observe all these are written in italics, right? So when the names are written in print, now this is printed part, so it is written with italics. Now if handwritten, they should be always be underlined. So here with the handwritten, if it is written with handwriting, you are supposed to have the genus and species differently or separately underlined with genus and species, not one single line. It should be always with one line for genus and one line for species, separately underline it should be. Scientific names is written with genus and species, so always see that you must have the genus and species written separately, not with one line. Always genus is capital in letter, so here this is genus Homo, so H is capital and species S is smaller letter. So these are the rules you are supposed to follow while writing the scientific name. So first one, what is it? It should be in Roman script. If it is in print, it should be italic. When written in hand, it should always be underlined with genus and species separately. And also while writing for all any of the script, like if it is with Roman script or print, or when you are writing with handwriting, so it should be with genus capital and species with small letter.